So I think some of you were there in the last class for the discussion, right? Part where we really did some questions. Some questions are left. If any you have doubt, please send me an email and we'll discuss it in the next discussion part. Now, I gave you all a question to do, right? And the language was something very simple, or at least it was looking something very simple. So it was that if x belongs to 0 1 star such that the third symbol from left or from right, so left to right, so right, is, let's say, 1. So this is the question we raised, that the third symbol from left to right. So whenever you are writing a binary string 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 0 1, so if you move, so basically whenever we are reading it, we go from left to right, right? So this particular language is saying that you should be really capturing what is the third symbol from right. So this is the third symbol, this is first, this is second, this is third. So third symbol from the right of any binary string, if it is 1, then that binary string will be part of this language L. So we have to design a DFA for it, right? So anyway, I hope many of you have already done it. I'm just hoping, being on positive side. If not, still if you have to do that one, I think designing NFA was very easy for this, right? If you want to design NFA, it's very simple. You are saying that take the start state. In the beginning you can have anything, it doesn't matter. After that you should have a 1, that is the third symbol that you want to derive. After the third symbol you can have a 0 or 1, which is a second symbol, and then you have 0 or 1 as the last symbol, and after that you reach to the final state. So that's all. In the beginning you can have anything in the NFA, but after the beginning you will have definitely this 1, right? So this is what is making it sure that, so this 1 is what is making sure that the right, so always see, this is declaring the ending of the NFA, any string which is reaching to the, any branch reaching to the final state, accepting branch. The third from the right will always be 1. It can be anything, it can be anything. In the beginning you can have anything. Now when you want to design a DFA, you have to understand that DFA, the states do what? They remember something about the string so far. Always remember, the states in the DFA is a finite memory given to you to remember something, based on which you take a decision whether to accept or not. So what all should we remember? Certainly we need to remember what was the third symbol from right so far. So for example, when you are reading it, you read up to, if you have read up to this point, you should be knowing that, if you have read up to this point, you should be knowing that what was the third symbol so far. So this is the third symbol. Next, so basically it's like a window that you are sliding, right? Next time when you reach up to this point of reading this, then this window slides from here to here. You have this window. Next again this window slides from this to this, and you keep sliding the window, and always the first symbol in this window you are recording, and that is deciding whether to accept the string or not. So you have to have this information. Now just keeping this first symbol in the window will not be sufficient, because the state also has to say that after taking a 0 or 1, means if you had this particular window 101, when you see a 1 after it, so where you will go, where the next window will be. So that means at this state we have to remember the whole window, and in that way how many different possible windows you can have with 3 symbols, because we are capturing 3 symbols in a window. So at least 8 states will be there, right? 8 different possibilities are there. If I have to write, it will be 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 1, right? So all possible, all possibilities, 8 different possibilities. So we have to create 8 different states for each one of the windows, and then from each window you might be jumping on to some other window based on what is the next symbol that you are looking after the window. It is telling that if 101 is the window and you received a 1 here, so the next window will become 011. So 101 was the window up to this point, and then 011 becomes the next window. So there will be arrow from 101 to 011 for label 1. Now let's just quickly design that DFA. So let's take the state 3 zeros, 0 0 1. So let me ask you, have you already designed this DFA? How many of you have done it? You can just respond, we have done. So if someone has already done, can you just send a picture in the WhatsApp group? So I am waiting for response. By that time, let me just draw it. F not so 0 1 0 and 0 1 1. Then the below side we have 1 0 0. You have 1 0 1. You have 1 1 0, and finally you have 111, right? If I have to mark which all will be the final states, so certainly if you stop at this point, so all the states with 1 as the first one, that is denoting that 1 is the rightmost, so that will become the final state. So all these 4 possibilities are the final states. If not clear, please ask. So basically, see why we declared these states as the final state, because they denote that in the window this particular symbol, the first symbol is 1 for each one of them, and that means if you stop at this state exhausting all the symbols in the input, that means the third symbol from the right was 1, right? So therefore that fulfills the criteria what we require, therefore we made these as the final state. Now which one will be the start state and what will be the transition, that is the remaining part. So if I have to design the transition 0 0 0, if you see a 1, where do you go? I think that is trivial. At 0 you remain at the same place. I don't have to really ask, I think this is trivial. 0 0 1 at 0, again this is again trivial. At 1 where you go? You go to this place. 0 1 0 at 0, so you go to this at 0. At 1 where do you go? 1 0 1. 0 1 1 at 0, you go to this one. At 1 you go to this place, right? So done for the top layer, let's do for the below layer. 1 0 0 at 0. At 1 1 0 1 at 0, so you get 0 1 0. So at 0 you go here, at 1 0 1 1, one one 0 at 0, 1 1 0 at 0, you where will you go? 1 0 1 at 1, triple 1 at 0, triple at 1, done. So I hope it is clear to you. Now the remaining part, if I have to really see what remains there, so it is just to define that what is. So what is the final state in this? Final state is done. What is the start state? Now for the start state, the problem is that you require at least 3 symbols, right, to enter at this point. So therefore in the beginning for epsilon you are not at any of these places, so you have to create some dummy states in this case. So this is the start state, and in the beginning you are at dummy. At 0 you went to 0, at 1 you went to a state 1, at another 0 you went to 0 0, at 1 you went to 0 1, and likewise for 0 and 1 you went to 0 1 0, and here you go to 1 1. Now after this 0 0 0, if you get a 0, right, so this was 0 1 0 1, if you get a 0 you will jump here, and if you get a 1, right, this or 1. Similarly for 0 1, at 0 you will be connecting to this, right. So I am not drawing the rest of the things. I think you can link up. So many different states have been created. So this part is just to tackle the initial strings. And this part, if you see, this part is the actual part, the logic that you have applied. So this is just to tackle the start state and rest. This is the logic part, and all together this will form. So I have not drawn all the transitions. I think you can do, or you can handle it in a different way. Now, is it clear to all of you the DFA? If yes, then we will go to the next. Any questions? Any questions in this? Good. So let us go back and see what actually I mean here. So now assume that I change the language L to the following. L is X belongs to 0 1. Oh my god, my writing is really very poor on this board. Okay, and X has 1 as its nth last character, right. So I have written the same thing in a different way. So at place of saying that it is the third symbol from the last, I am saying it is the nth symbol. So basically if you start from this place, you go up to nth place from right. So this particular symbol I am talking about in a binary string, right. So nth place, and you are deciding. So now when you are defining for this, if you are designing the NFA, you will realize that it can be done just with how many n plus 1 states, right? N plus 1 states will be sufficient for NFA. But if you are designing a DFA, what is the answer? If we do the same way how we were doing, so 2 to the power n different possible states will be required to maintain the logic part, and then some extra to maintain the initial strings. So something more than 2 to the power n, right? So somewhere it is order of n, somewhere it is order of 2 to the power n. I think you haven't yet studied the complexity, but it's like somewhere it is taking very small number n and 2 to the power n. There is a huge difference between that. Something of the order of n, something of the order of 2 to the power n. It's a exponential, while the other one is a linear in n, right? So that is the difference. So for example, if I say it is the 100th symbol from the last, I think it will just take 100 plus 1 states. But for the DFA in this way, it is going to require 2 to the power 100 states. And 2 to the power 100 is a very, very big number, very, very big number, although you don't realize. So whenever it comes to that, so can we do better than that? Can we do better than the exponential? That is the question. So anyone has any guess for this? Can we do better than order of 2 to the power n? Hi Amol, your question is that if we can assume that any coming string is actually appended with 000. Certainly, with the assumptions you can design the logic part. So that is the part where you assume something that okay, we are starting with at least 3 length string. So then you can start with 000 or something like that, and you say that okay, in the beginning you are coming. So that kind of consideration can be done for the starting part. But the logic is something you cannot assume, right? Now, anyone, can you say yes or no? Definitely you should be able to think about that. Can we do better than order of 2 to the power n in this case? So for example, with that 3 thing, we designed a DFA. Everyone might have designed a different DFA, right? And I always told you, when I give you a language, everyone can design their own machine. And you just have to check whether there is any counter string or not. If not, certainly your DFA is for the language. So it is correct. So there can be different possible DFAs. So my question is, can there exist a DFA with less than 8 number of states for the previous language, or in this case, less than 2 to the power n number of states? Any wild guesses or anything? No one want to guess on either side? At least with 50% you can toss a coin and tell, right? Yes or no? Yeah, I'm not going to ask the explanation. You can say yes or no. At least I'll see that I'm not. Okay, so we have 2 no's. Others are sleeping or what happened? Okay, there is a yes. Good. Now at least there are both sides we have votes, right? Otherwise it's a. Oh, no is getting a lot many votes. Okay, good. At least we have some answers. So Feeling that I'm really teaching some people. Okay, good. So Shashwat has asked very nice question that all the states have some part in common. Can we exploit that to reduce the number of states, right? So that's an interesting concept where you can think. But I think majority goes with no, so the right answer is no, right? So we cannot do better than 2 to the power n, and let's quickly prove it so that we can move further. And once we prove that it cannot do better than 2 to the power n, I think you will understand the power of NFA. Whatever DFA is doing with so many states, NFA can do with just very small number of states, right? So let us quickly prove this concept. So we said that, okay, there are 8 different possibilities, right? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, okay, no, not 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, right? 8 different possibilities are there for a window. Can there be any more possibilities? No. Now, if you say that, so we are what we are trying to prove, we are proving that we cannot have any DFA with less than 8 states. That's what we are proving. Let's take a counter. Let's prove by contradiction. So I'm going to take the contradictory statement of this. So I think prove by contradiction is something very standard technique, and it is given in the first chapters of these books that I recommended you to read, right? The first 2 chapters. So it is a method of proving. So whenever any theorem is given to you and you want to prove by contradiction, you take the contradictory assumption. So I'm saying that let there exist a DFA with 7 or less number of states. And language of this DFA D, let's say, is exactly the given language. What I am saying, there exists a DFA D with 7 or less number of states, and the language is same as that one. Now, because you see there are 7 or less, I think proving for 7 will suffice for the rest. So let's say that stick to 7, and you can prove for any number less than that. So 7 is the maximum I am going to prove. It cannot happen even with 7 number of states. So for the less than 7, it can be proved in the same way. So let's say that there is some DFA. So D has 7 states, right? So what I am saying that now, because D has 7 states and you have 8 these different strings, right? These are 8 strings. So when you run these 8 strings on the DFA from the start state, what will happen? Because there are only 7 states, right? So using pigeonhole principle, I can definitely comment that at least two strings will end up right to the same state. I hope you agree with this, right? Because there are only 7 states. From the start state, when you really start executing for string 1, string 2, string 3, string 4, you'll realize that each of these strings will be taking you from the start state to some state. Because only 7 states are there, so 8 strings are there, so at least 2 strings will end up at the same state. Let's say that that state is Q. right? So same state, and I'm assuming that this state is Q. Now I think up to this point we are just following that there are 7 number of states. Okay, let's take that these were 2 strings W1 and W2 picked from this 8 strings, and they took you to state Q. So that means if I have to write in delta form, so delta W1, so let's write in this way. Okay, let's write here. What do we mean by that? We mean that delta cap of Q0 is the start state and W1, and delta cap from Q0 W2 both is actually Q. So from start state, when you run W1 or W2, you are arriving at Q. Now after this, let's say that if I append some string x to it, right? So if I am appending some x to it, what will happen to W1? So W1 I am appending as another string x, so it becomes W1 dash, and same doing for W2x. So that becomes W2 dash. Now once I get this W1 W2, so delta cap of Q0 W1 dash, if you have to find, I think it is trivial to say that it is same as delta cap of Qx, right? And the same you can say about this one. Why? Because W1 is actually W1x. So Q0 to W1, if you really travel on that, so it is like if you have a diagram, this is the Q0 state. So using W1 you are arriving at Q, and then further using X you might be arriving at P. Let's say that this is both is P. So using W1 you are arriving there, and same using from Q0 if you start from another route which is actually mentioning W2, so again using X you will be arriving to P. So what I am saying that whenever you append any string X further on W1 and W2, it will take still you to the same state P. So once you end up in the same state processing W1 W2 to Q, afterwards if you append any substring, still you will remain. So basically it will go together now once it really joined here. So let's open a new diagram just to understand. So what we are saying that you started with Q0, using same path you ended up in Q using the string W1. Similarly, using some other path you ended up in Q using W2. So this path means W1 is a string, W2 is another string. Afterwards, whatever substring you append to this, you will actually follow the same thing. You will not consider what was W1 or W2. You will forget actually. You just remember what is the state, and afterward what happens, right? So I am saying that if considering only 7 states, these were the states, and we already gave 8 small strings of length 3. So at least 2 end up on same state. So that 2 that you are saying is W1 and W2. And whenever you append anything with W1 or W2, they should be ending up in the same state, right? Afterwards, once you end up in this after processing W1 or W2, afterwards whatever you append, they should remain on the same. That means it will be a single state afterwards. But here comes the contradictory part. I claim that you take all these 8 possibilities 001, 0001, 0, 10, 011, and then you take 100, 101, 110, 111. This is total 8 possible strings, right? That you were talking about. I'm saying some 2 might be going, I don't know which one. But my claim is that for every pair of string W1, W2, we can find a X such that delta cap of Q0 W1x and delta cap of Q0 W2x, exactly one of them is final and the other one is non-final. What I am claiming here is that for every string here, I can find a appending string X, common appending string, that if you append. So although these 2 strings, so you said any 2 string might be going to the same state, but here I am claiming for every possible pair of W1, W2 coming from this set, I can find a common appending string such that whenever you append and try to execute it from the beginning, for one possibility you will be ending up in a final state, while for the other one you will be ending up in a non-final state. But it should be not happening, because this and this both, as you can see here, is going to P. So P cannot be final or non-final at the same time. So one is saying it is a final. This claim is proving that you are ending up in the same state. But here I can prove that I have an appending string for every W1, W2 such that one says it is a final, the other says it is a non-final. So I think it's very simple to find such a string W. If I have to really do it for, let's say, any string from this side, any string from this side, right? I think epsilon is the counter string. You don't append anything. When you are not appending anything, certainly you cannot have W1 from this set and the W1 from this, W2 from this set, right? If you pick any W1 from this set and W2 from this set and you append it by epsilon, that means the string remains same, any string. So these all strings are taking you to a non-final state, right? While these all take you to a final state because it satisfies the criteria. So therefore, these 2 strings cannot take you to a final or the same state given any chance. Now you might say, okay, if you say you pick this one, I pick, okay, let's say that I pick these 2 strings. Then what will be the appending? So this is my W1, this is my W2. For this W1, W2, can you tell me the value of X such that if I append that X to it, one will go to a final state, the other one will not go to a final state. Let's hear. If you understood, you will be able to answer. What will be the value of X for this W1, W2? That W1 is 110 and W2 is 111. Good. I think multiple options, but you know what I can say? I can say any string of length 2 will satisfy it. Any string of length 2. Why? Because any string of length 2, once you append to it, what will happen? Whenever you append any string of length 2, so let's say that X has 2 symbols A1 and A2. When you append that, the window that you were seeing, right? So for 1 1 0 and 1 1 1, when you append A1 and A2, the window will shift from 1 1 0 to this, while for this the window will shift to this. Now here the deciding bit is this, right? Deciding bit is this. So you did such a shifting that the deciding bit is actually differing from each other, and because of that the answers will be different. I think that is the basic logic behind this whole discussion. You can always append something such that the deciding position can be different in different strings. Therefore you can never have any such pair. So if you can never have any such pair that it takes you to the same state, that means it cannot have a PHP principle following, and therefore you cannot do it with less than 8 number of states. So that is a simple proof. Always you will have something to append and you will arrive at contradiction. So let me wait for a minute and see if you have any questions, or if you want to me to just quickly revise, I can do that. And if you understood, then it is much better. We can go ahead. So if you don't understand, you can send me a private chat saying that I don't understand, can you revise or something. I think this application also has a public and private chat kind of configuration. So I think feel free to ask questions. I think that is very important. This is the point of time when you really can ask as many as questions. Is it clear? Okay, good. So if still you have any question, you can always send me a message or something. I'll go back to the concept. So see, just let me quickly still give you the view from where we are coming and where we are going. We claim that can we have a DFA better than 2 to the power n? So that's what was our theorem, that for 3, we proved it for 3, you can prove the same for general case. So this is the theorem that we considered, and we are saying that can we do it with better than 8 number of possibilities, right? Less than 8 number of states, and the answer is no. But we said that okay, let's prove it by contradiction. So I took the contradictory statement. So to prove it by contradiction, I took a contradictory statement saying that I can do it with 7 or less number of states. So assuming the largest one, I said that okay, let's assume there are 7 states. So if you have 7 states and there are 8 different strings that I have to tackle at least, so certainly 2 of the strings will end up in the same state. What do we mean by ending up in the same state? That you start with the string from the start state, you will end up to the same state q. After that, if you append anything to the strings, you will actually reach to a state, and this state will be same for both the appending. W1x, W2x, both will take you to the same state, because once you arrived at q, after that if you process any string, it will not remember whether you are coming from W1 or W2. Right? State we are not able to remember. We just remember some finite thing. We cannot remember from which states we are coming. We just remember what is the current status. Now, after that it is saying you will end up in the single state. Now, the problem is that with the 8 strings, we said that at least 2 will take you to the same state. But I have a claim saying that for every possible pairing of this string from here, any possible pairing you pick from here, here, or any possible pairing, how many pairings will be that? 8C2, right? So 8C2 possible pairings are there, and you pick any pairing. I can find a x such that it says that one of them goes to a final while the other one doesn't go to final. What I mean by that means once you append that x, one of them will qualify for the acceptance while the other will not qualify. That means one of the W1x will not be part of the language while the W2x might be part of, or vice versa. But exactly one of them will be getting accepted. But how it is possible? Because as per our initial derivation, because of 7 states, we are saying that they end up in the same state. So how two different strings taking you to the same state and one is getting accepted while the other one is not? It is a contradiction straight away. That one is saying this state is a final state while the other is saying it is not a final state. So therefore it cannot happen. So if this cannot happen, certainly our assumption must have been incorrect. And therefore we cannot do it better than 8 states. So NFAs are really powerful than DFAs. But are they really extremely powerful? That they can recognize, they can actually solve more languages, they can express more languages than the DFA? The answer is no. The power of DFA is same as power of NFA in terms of recognizing languages. In terms of expressing languages, the answer is they are of same power. So if I have to prove it, the power is same. What I have to prove? I have to prove that if this is a class of all possible NFAs, this is a class of all possible DFAs that you can design, and I am saying that these are really equivalent. So then I have to say that this is class C1, this is class C2. So I have to say that if I have to really prove that C1 is equals to C2, what I need to do? If I have to prove this, I have to prove that for all x belonging to C1, I have some y, equivalent y in C2, and in the same way for all y belonging to C2, I have some x belonging to C1. If you are trying to see that what I am saying, that for every x belongs to this, I have a y, that means I am saying that actually this class C1 is subset of C2 and C2 is subset of C1. Now this one is very trivial. C2 is certainly a subset of C1. Why? Because every DFA is an FA. If every DFA is an FA in itself, certainly it is correct. So this we don't need to prove. As per the definition of DFA and NFA, this holds by default. Now the only part remaining is proving that C1 is subset of C2. To prove that, you have to prove that for all NFAs, right, there exists an equivalent DFA, right? So this statement, if I am writing, I will be writing that for every NFA there exists an equivalent DFA. If we prove this statement somehow, then I think this will hold this particular claim, and then you can say both the classes are the same, and then you can claim that they are of the same power in terms of recognizing languages. So all languages recognized by the DFAs and all languages recognized by NFAs. All languages means for every NFA there is a language, for every DFA there is a language, right? So for all these machines, you keep expressing their languages and keep that as another class. So class of all languages that can be expressed by DFAs, and class of all languages that can be expressed by NFAs. If this set is same, certainly that set will also be same. So we have to prove that for every NFA there exists an equivalent DFA, right? Okay, to do that, let's quickly understand what is the processing of an NFA. So if you see that when NFA processes, so it starts with Q0, and then for a given symbol A1, for a given input A1, it might go to two different states. Then another reading A2, from these it might go to further few possible number of states. Again on A3, some branches might halt, some branches might go ahead. And likewise, this is how NFA processes, right? So A3 and you are going further. What we are saying that what we are trying to prove that for every NFA there exists an equivalent DFA. That means if given some NFA, I should be able to design a DFA that actually performs the same computation what NFA was doing. So if this NFA is given, so this NFA is that there is a Qn states, there is a delta n as the transition function, sigma Q0n, let's say, and then you have Fn. 5 tuple system. I should be able to design a DFA, right? I have a DFA such that these two recognize the same language. So I have to prove given every NFA, I can always have a DFA. So I'm saying given any NFA, I always have this kind of component. So if I can do such kind of matching, it will be amazing. Now, the logic is something very simple. If you understand the logic, the conversion part is just something very trivial. See, if you really want to design an equivalent DFA, what you need to do? See, whenever this NFA accepts, I have to accept on the DFA, right? Whenever this NFA rejects, I have to reject on the DFA. How we know that some NFA accepts? So, assuming that if this is the final state, assume that this is the final state, how we decide whether NFA accepts or not? So the decision is made based on looking at the last level of the NFA tree and checking if any of this, whatever the states you are able to reach on that level, if any of them is final, you say that branch is final and you should be accepting it on the NFA. So we want to record that after, for a given string W, A1, A2, A3 and likewise, whenever you process it on NFA, if I am able to record that which all states you are on the NFA, on DFA somehow, I think at the last, once you have processed the whole symbols, all symbols, I have already recorded in what all possible states the NFA might have been. I can decide, because then I can just check at the last level which all states are there. If any of them is actually part of the final state of the NFA, it is a final accepting string. So I have to record this information. If this information can be given to me for every string, that for a given string W, this is there, for W dash, there is another string. So it might be going to a last level for processing W dash, and you give me that, the last level. If you give me the last level, I can decide. But on the DFA, how do we record this last level thing? Because DFA, we just have the states. So the concept is something very simple, that we record that at each step where the machine might have gone. So in the start state, DFA also is in the start state, right? But then if you are going to Q1 and Q2 here, so I should be able to record this on my state on the DFA. So I should be able to record it in the form of Q1, Q2. So Q1, Q2 labeled, this single state is defining that when NFA might go to Q1 and Q2 at a given level, just Q1, Q2. Next, if this is my maybe again Q1, Q2, this is Q1 and Q3, and this is Q4. So at this state, this level, what all different states I am? I am in state Q1, Q2, again Q1. So anyway, being on this Q1 or this Q1, they will end up in the same way afterwards, right? So one Q1 is a distinct, Q2 is a distinct, Q3 is a distinct, Q4 is a distinct. So after processing A1, I am actually at this level of NFA. After processing A2, from Q1, Q2, I reach to the possibility of Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. Further, if I receive A3, I again go to this, and this is actually representing whatever distinct states you have here. Now, this is a single state. It is just labeled with different number of states of the NFA, right? So if I can design such a DFA which can actually record the number of states of the NFA and take different subsets, and it can know the transition that where you might have gone on the NFA, then it is trivial that whatever the states you are here, I can do the same here, and my DFA, this state will tell, because in DFA what you check if this is a final state or not. To this state to be a final state, if at least one of them is coming from the final state of the NFA, then you can say that. So let us quickly write the algorithm for the conversion, and then we will come back and try to again revisit these concepts, right? So my claim of the reduction is something very simple. I am saying that let NFA n is actually your Qn sigma delta n Q0 n, and then you have your Fn. Then we can construct a DFA based on the same, defining QD. Sigma will remain same because we are not changing sigma, Q0D, and then FD. Now here if I have to construct, so given an NFA I have to construct a DFA. So this is something called proof by construction. So I am constructing something. So the first component QD will be defined as power set of Qn. So if you have whatever the number of states in the non-deterministic automata, you will have power set of those many in the deterministic version. That is the first reduction. Number two, you have to, so this is already equivalent to each other, so I don't have to talk about that. We have to design the rest of the thing. Now let's say that R is defining some state part of your QD. So how QD will look like? So an element in QD is actually Q1, Q2, Q3, right? It belongs to QD, where Q1, Q2, Q3 are individual elements of Qn. So they combine together actually form a state here. So that's what is representing multiple states, right, in a single one. So R is, let's say, a subset of QD, right, and let's take that A is some symbol of alpha, A is some input symbol. Then if you have to find out delta D of RA, because delta D is defined on what? Delta D is defined on some state of that DFA. So here I am taking some state of DFA because QD is the all possible states. So I have taken some state of DFA and an input symbol, and this can be calculated as, if I have to really find it, it will be Q part of Qn such that Q belongs to delta n of RA for some R belonging to R. What I am trying to write, that if I have to write in summarized way, I can rewrite it as delta D of RA is equals to taking union of for all elements of R, because R, if you see, this is R. R is not a single state of Qn. R may be multiple possibilities from Qn, right? It's a power state, power set. It is, R is an element of the power set of Qn. So R can be representing multiple elements of Qn. So each element of R you pick, and for that, where on NFA you might have gone, you take that and you take the union of that, that becomes your how on DFA you will move further. So this is, if you really want to understand this step, it is exactly similar to that. This is R, right? So if this is my R, so delta for on the non-deterministic machine for Q1 A2, where are you going, and delta n for Q2 A2, where are you going. So Q1 at A2 you are going to, so if you have to find out this delta n of Q1 A2, so delta n on the non-deterministic machine on A2 from Q1 you are going to Q1 Q2, and delta n of Q2 for A2 symbol you are going to Q1, Q3 and Q4, right? So R is what? R is basically your Q1, Q2. R is representing this. So when you will try to find on the DFA what will be the next state, so R on A2, if I have to find, you can write it as union of for all elements of R. You try finding on the machine or non-deterministic how this R will move on A. So there are two possibilities of R, either Q1 or Q2. For Q1 it is going to give you this, for Q2 it is going to give you this. If you take the union of these two, you're gonna find out the union is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and that is what is the R dash, the next state. So this is R. From R, when you took A2, you are reaching to R dash, right? So that's how we have defined mathematically the same thing here in the next page, that what all the elements you have in the R, for each of them on the non-deterministic you go wherever you are going, take the union of that. And exactly this is also saying the same thing. These are equivalent, these are same. Now this is to define all possible transitions. The third part is defining the start state. So our Q0 dash will be, right, sorry, what will be Q0D? It will be the singleton set containing Q0n, just the subset, right? Out of all possible subsets, the subset containing only Q0n, that will become the start state of this machine DFA. Now coming back to the final state, if I have to define FD, so FD is all those R belonging to QD such that R intersection Fn is not phi. Very simple. What I am trying to say, that at least one of the states in R should be one of the final state of the NFA. So in this sense, if you go back to this machine, it is exactly saying that if this is your final state, so this state will be final state if at least one of the members are actually the final state of NFA, and that actually gives you the same result as if this is one of the final accepting branch, because if any branch is final accepting branch, So the last level, if you take the union of all the states, right? So that is what you are getting on the DFA also, union. Now if any of the branches are accepting, one of the states must be the final state at the last level, and that will appear here also in the DFA. So we say that any state on the DFA equivalent is a final state if it contains at least one element from the final state of NFAs. So this is our construction of the machine. For every NFA, I have an equivalent DFA. I think this is a very mathematical way of doing that. We can do few examples to quickly derive it, but let's see if anyone has any doubt so far. Anyone has any question in this? So let us try doing one example. I think that will make it clearer, right? Doing one example will be a good way of at least and I think you need to do many exercises to really understand what and how this whole is happening, this conversion and all. So let's take one example quickly to do the equivalence part. Let me try to find one. Okay, let me just draw one by myself. I think it will be difficult to find some good appropriate as of now. Okay, so let's take this NFA. I have drawn a very small NFA, I think, just for the simplicity. So what is the language of this NFA? If I have to find, the language of this NFA is that it ends with 0. Whatever might be the beginning, it ends always with 0. Now if I have to design an equivalent DFA, right? So if what all the tuples components are there for this NFA? So what is the possible states? It is Q0 and Q1. Alphabet, it is 0, 1. What is the delta function? I think delta is already clear, that delta at Q0 for 0 is actually Q0 Q1, and delta for Q0 at 1 is Q0 itself, and delta for Q1 is nothing, so you don't need to write that. That's all is the transitions, right? Then your start state Q0 is your start state Q0, it is Q0, right? Okay, the same state. And then what is the final state? It is Q1, right? Now I have to design an equivalent DFA for it. So let's try applying the algorithm and see how it really brings. So in case of the QD, what will be the states? So it will be all possibilities, the power state of this. The power state will be phi, which is representing the empty subset. Then you have just Q0, then you have Q1, and then you have Q0, Q1 combined. These are the subset, right? Now, What will be the sigma? Sigma will still be the same 0 1. What will be the delta? Now if I have to define delta for all, so let us, I think it will be good to have a transition table for that. So here I am going to write the states, and for 0 and 1 what will be the value. So I have 5 different possibilities. I have phi, I have q0, I have q1, and finally I have q0, q1. Phi at 0, where will it go? Because there is no phi state here, right? So at 0 it will not go anywhere. So if it is not going to anywhere, it is going to empty set, and therefore it will be phi. And phi at 1, it will be phi. So phi, you can think of it as a dead state. Always. So NFA always have a dead state in the equivalent DFA. It always comes. So which links are not going anywhere, you will realize that it goes to the dead state. Now for the Q0, if I have to find out, Q0 at 0, where you go? Q0 at 0. So if I have to do that, I have to see that which, for this element Q0, where I am going at 0. So Q0 at 0, I am going to Q0 Q1, therefore it will appear at Q0 Q1 here. Q0 at 1, where I go? I go to Q0. Now Q1 at 0, I go to phi. Q1 at 1, I go to phi, because I don't go anywhere, right? So that is very important, I think. You go to phi, it's dead state. Q0 Q1 at 0. Now that's something you have to understand. Whenever I have multiple elements in a state and I am trying to derive where I go on a 0, it's something very simple if you do. Mathematically it was written in a difficult way, but for each of the elements, for this you find where you go at 0, for this you find where you go at 0, and then you take the union of all that. Q0 at 0, where I am going? Q0 at 0, I am going to Q0 Q1. Q1 at 0, where I am going? I am going to phi. Phi is a empty set, right? This is representing phi. So taking union of Q0 Q1 and an empty set, this gives me, when you take the union, it gives me Q0 Q1. Therefore I still get a Q0 Q1 here, right? And then for Q0 Q1 at 1, so Q0 at 1, where I go? Actually it is, if you take this row and take the union, you will actually get for Q0 Q1. That's a simple way of doing. So Q0 Q1 and Q0, here it is phi, so I still get Q0. So my equivalent DFA, if I have to really design, let me just delete few of the things at the bottom and rewrite the entries. So this is saying that Q0 Q1, this is again Q0. Now this is the DFA, but now what information is missing? The start state and the final state. Let's quickly do it based on that. So delta is done. We'll draw the diagram, but before that let's figure out all the components. So this is our delta D. Then what will be the Q0D? It will be the single set starting with Q0. So this is my start state for the machine, right? And what will be the final state? It will be any of the states containing my at least one element from the final set of NFA. So NFA has Q1 as the final state. So all the states possible here which has any of the element from F, that becomes final. So my FD will be comprising of, one is Q1 itself and the other state is Q0 Q1. Both of them will be a final state, and therefore to represent that, 2 asterisks here. And when you have to represent in the form of a diagram, you start with start state, which is representing Q0. Then where are you going at the start state at 0? You are going to a final state which is representing Q0 Q1. At 0, at 1 you are remaining to the same state. Now Q0 Q1, right, at 0 where I am going? q0 q1 at 0 I am remaining in the same state. At 1 I am going back to q0. Now these two are done, q0 q1 this. What about the rest? Okay, there are two more states, one is phi, one is q1. Phi at 0 or 1 it remains in the same state, and q1 at 0 or 1 it goes to phi, right? So if you have to say this whole is your equivalent DFA. But you can always say that this is a disconnected component, right? And by the way, this is the final state q1. So you see there is a two different disconnected components. So starting from this machine you will never come to this component of the part. So even if you just delete this component, that will not hurt the DFA. If you see this DFA, this is a DFA, answer is yes. Is it this representing the same language ending with 0? Yes. Why? All once it is remaining in the same state. As soon as you get a 0 it goes to final. Until you are at 0 it remains there. For any 1 it comes back to this state. So this NFA is equivalent to this DFA using this principle, and this is how we construct it. So I just gave you one example using the same mathematical formula that we derived. And see, there is an inductive version of doing the same. If you try to find doing the inductive version, there is some example given. So using induction, if you try to start, there is an inductive version of doing that. So it says that if this was your NFA, that q0 at 1 you are starting, at 0 or 1 you are here, at 0 only you are going to q2, q1, right? So if you want to quickly design the DFA for it, it's very simple. You start with the start state q0, because q0 is the start state, and then for both the inputs you see what value you are getting. So q0 at 0, where I am going, q0 at 0 I am going to q0 q1, and q0 at 1 I am remaining at q0. Now q0 at 0 I got this, and at 1 I got this. So this is the same state, but I got a new state. So let's explore this new state. So it is like BFS. Whenever I identify a new state, I will try exploring that state. So now q0 and q1 at 0, where will I go? q0 at q1 I will remain in the same state q0 q1. At 1 where I go at q0. Now at this level again this state is already explored, this state is already explored, so I don't get any new state. So I can stop my exploration at this point of time, and this is my final state and this is my complete DFA. The other useless states that we found, you will never arrive if you use this approach, right? So this is basically just if you try to understand what we did, we are not doing something amazing here. We are just saying that you are starting the exploration from the start state. So what all is reachable from the start state you will able to find out here. The states which are not reachable or in a different disconnected component, they will not appear here, and anyway those are useless state, because starting any string from the start state you will never reach to those states. So you can always minimize the size of your DFA or quickly do the reduction at place of taking. So in this way you are just saying that if it is n states in the DFA, I might get something lesser than 2 to the power n by really discarding the useless states. But it never says that you will not get of the order of 2 to the power n, because we have already seen an example where there were n plus 1 states and we end up using more than or at least 2 to the power n states, right? So this is just a quick way of doing the solution. So is there any question to it? I think there are several, you can take any NFA, try converting into DFA. I think you will really understand that how it is done. So this is the logic part how we are doing, and this is the mathematical algo that explains how we are doing, and I think it is very much clear with the help of this example. So any questions on this? Anyone has any question? Correct. Q0, Q1 is the one way it is expressing that both Q0 and Q1 together. That's all you can say. Okay, so no questions. Then let me just give you a quick intro to the next concept, which is called ENFA. What is ENFA? So NFA was that you had the so there was DFA, then we studied NFA. So we had that for every Q, right, for every state and alphabet A you had transition. In the NFA you relaxed it, this that you don't need to have a transition for every Q and A, and for a given Q and A you can go to multiple states at once, right? Now if you are defining ENFA, it says that there can be some arrow going from a state to another state without any labeling. It is epsilon label. So without consuming any input you can move from a state to another state. That is interesting. So if you try to find the transition function of DFA, what it was saying the delta function going from Q cross sigma to Q. Now this is the DFA, this is the NFA version, that Q cross sigma takes you to power set of Q. In the ENFA, the transition function behaves like Q cross, it is sigma union epsilon to PQ. What it actually represents, what is the difference between these two? It is saying that apart from the symbols, you can have epsilon as an input symbol also on the arrows. So it is called ENFA. So the question is, by doing that, do we have more power to recognize more languages? Does the power increase in some way? Because we are trying to build a bigger and bigger, better machine, right? Initially, we just had a simple machine. Then we said that, okay, let's relax it, let's do better. We got NFAs. Then we said, okay, let's relax further, we give more options. Does it increase the power? The answer is no. Again, how to convert from ENFA to NFA or ENFA to DFA? There are algorithms given in the book. It is something very trivial to the algorithm that we have just studied here. It is something very similar to that. So I'm asking you to just go through that, try understanding what and how we can construct it. We might quickly revisit it in the next class, but then we will move on to the next concept, right? So how to convert ENFA into DFA? So there is a direct way of doing it, or you can first convert it into NFA and then you already know this. This is known to you. Try finding out this or this one. Right. So that is your homework for today. You should do that and do a lot of practice of converging from NFA to DFA. So thank you so much. If you have any doubt or something, you can always email it to me, as you know. So that is all for today's class. Thank you. See you again tomorrow on. If C dot recording is done finally and everything is okay, then we will meet again tomorrow at the same platform. Okay, epsilon increases possibility of input in the machine, right? Yes, correct. So now you have more possibilities of input, but by doing that, do you recognize something more set of languages? The answer is no. And to prove that, you have to prove that for every ENFA, you have an equivalent DFA. If for every ENFA you have an equivalent DFA, so the all languages that you are recognizing by ENFA is same as all languages recognized by NFAs is the same set of languages that you are recognizing by DFAs. So the power in terms of recognizing languages, power in terms of expressing languages, or power in terms of solving the set membership problem of languages are same for all these three machines. Oh, we are building a machine. We are just trying to see that by doing different kind of alteration to machine. In the first version, we increase the power of machine to go to multiple state for a given symbol. But we realize that this change in the machine is not letting you do better. It's like you had a car. You said that, okay, I'm just gonna add 2 flaps for it and let's see if it flies or not. You said, no, it is not flying. So it is something like we are just adding and trying to see, can it do better than that? And the answer that we are getting is no, it is not doing any better than what the other could have done. So it is just we are trying to understand different addition to the machine, different power to the machine when we are adding. Does it become better than one without any power, or is it the same? I hope it answers your question, Shubham. So it is just we are exploring so that when we are at a higher level, we can understand exactly what affects and what does not affect to the power. Okay, so thank you so much. I'm just stopping.